Oh, I believe in the management mode. The reason is in order to take the company to the next level. I always talk about growth. I've seen a lot of people is they want to make perfect product. They hold a very high standard. Don't get me wrong, I do have a very high standard. But I think one thing that really helped me is there's nothing gonna be perfect if I don't ship the product. So typically B2B sales cycle would be 10x on consumer. So for a startup, for founder to survive, I need to diversify as a second-time founder because I'm never from B2B, even though I've invested a few months, it could be just zero revenue.
Welcome to this channel. And if you are first time to watch the FounderCoHo channel, where our community help founders to share their story and get a feel in their founder journey. Founder's journey can be lonely, but our goal is to make the process more enjoyable and more fun. We do this by inviting a lot of great entrepreneurs to share with us their experiences. And we're very excited to have Alice join us. Alice is the CEO of Silicon Valley Circle. She's a Forbes 30 Under 30 2019. And your first job in the first year, you made a few $1 million and made it profitable. That is amazing. We'd love to hear your story.
Hi, thank you for having me, Jane. My name is Alice. I'm the founder and the CEO at Silicon Valley Circle. So what does Silicon Valley Circle do? We're an education startup to help high school students get into top universities. The second is helping young professional and college students break into tech and finance industry. I've been doing this for over 2 years now with my co-founder. And previously, I worked at a few tech companies, Uber, LinkedIn, in BizDev and partnerships function. Yeah, so excited to share more.
So first, I would like to hear more stories about your Forbes experience, like 30 and 30. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so it was very random. I saw they are looking for the lister on the website. Then I applied, filled out the applications, and someone reached out to me, said they were interested in knowing more about my story. And I shared my story with them. That's how I was very lucky to get enlisted.
Awesome. That's very fantastic. What made you excited about what you're doing right now?
Yeah, I think that one thing that I really value and excited is about to making impact for the students and for the family. So I really think every high school student, the impact we can bring to the family is tremendous. And also for the college students, imagine to help them get their first job in the US, that took a lot of effort. So I'm really proud my team is doing and the impact we'll be able to make for the individual.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. I'm pretty sure that a lot of students, they would need help like that. And also, our community would be very curious about what is your everyday life look like? What is the everyday life of an entrepreneur look like? Yeah.
Yeah, I would say it really depends. Some of the days I could be running back-to-back meetings with the students' parents and the students on the phone, and also to do the coaching for our students. And some of the days I could be going out, like meeting partnerships, go to the conference to really getting more job opportunities for our students. So really, I would say there is no typical day. It really depends on the responsibility and the focus priority of our business.
Yeah, well said. Actually, for entrepreneurs, nothing is really typical. It's like whatever that their business need and help your customer. That's truly the life of entrepreneur state look like. Awesome. For every startup founders, it always comes with like our roots, the way we grow up, our early experience always shape our view of the world and of course shape our view of the business as well. Could you share with our community a little bit about your early days?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'd love to share more. So I grew up in Sichuan. I don't know if any of you have been to Sichuan.
By the way, Sichuan is the places where you can find a lot of pandas. It's a very beautiful place.
And one of my favorite food is hot pot. If you guys like Hai Di Lao,
I do like.
Or Happy Lamb, definitely give a huge plug. Yeah. So I grew up in Sichuan and came to US for my undergrad. I studied accounting, but very interesting. I've never practiced a day as an accountant. I just feel like I'm not passionate about being accountant. So I wanted something more exciting. So out of college, I started my first job at Uber. It was a very exciting journey. And Uber back then was under the Travis leadership, and we have a tremendous growth. That really excites me. And also I think that sets the foundation for me to pursue the entrepreneurship journey.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I remember you had an undergrad in the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah. What made you decide to come to have the college education in the United States versus in China?
Yeah, it's a very interesting story. I had no idea what I want to do in high school, and it was more my dad took me to a trip to Shenzhen, and there are a lot of entrepreneur immigrants to the U.S. and their kids are studying in the U.S. And that really gave me a lot of opportunity once to come to U.S. to study. So it was I would say a very I would say it was accident or a coincidence that I came to US. I didn't plan for it. Yeah. Unexpected.
Exactly. That's actually a life of many great startup founders like that. It's actually Steve Jobs put it in a very good way. I recall that he mentioned about you cannot foresee the future. And so there's a lot of serendipity as you think forward. But when you're going through the whole experience and you're looking back and all the dots are connected, you actually have a story from that. Yeah, so that's actually pretty interesting. And we know that you come from China and then land in the United States, which are very different. Obviously, there's no panda here. There's a lot of more interesting things. I'm curious, is there any interesting experience that you had when you came to the United States?
I would say there are a lot of interesting things. First, I go to school in a very small university in the West Pennsylvania. And majority of my classmates is American. I probably only see very few international students. So culture-wise, one, that was a definitely cultural shock. And second, that really helped me to step out of my comfort zone. At the beginning, no one really understood what I'm talking about. My English was very bad, but I definitely just kept trying and then practice. Then finally, I think that improved over the time. And the third is, West Pennsylvania is very different than New York or the California, like we probably knew. And it's just like culture-wise, there are a lot of push me to learn, adapt. I think that really says, I think that was one of the quantity that helped me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And a lot of our community members are also immigrants. And the immigrants actually consists of 40% of the founders from the unicorns from the US. America is an amazing society that embraces the talents from around the world.
Yeah.
Of course, at the same time, it takes a process to fit into this society, figure out a position here.
Yeah.
What would be your one advice to people, to immigrants or maybe young students who come in, want you find a career in the United States? What would be your advice to them?
Okay. If there's only one advice I would give, I would say just do it.
Just do it.
Just
well
do
said.
it. Yeah. Without knowing what's gonna happen. Because if you don't do it, you never know what's gonna happen. If you try, you always iterate and pivot, and then eventually you will get to what you want. For me, that really helped me by having this just do it, the mindset.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That a lot of times is for many things the start is the same. Like a lot of times you might not know the answers, there's tons of problems. Everyone tell you like don't do it. There's the chance that you will be successful is zero. But I think doing a startup or come to a different country, you have a lot of common factors about you have to be optimistic, you have to try it.
Yeah.
Just do it and one day you will make it. That's pretty cool. And I think a lot of our audience will be also very interesting. How you come to the US as students who are figuring out your position in society, learning language, how you end up becoming entrepreneur. Tell us the story.
Yeah, I would love to add one point to your previous question.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay, I think one of the pitfall that I'm seeing a lot of people is they want to make perfect product. They hold a very high standard. Don't get me wrong, I do have a very high standard, but I think one thing that really helped me is there's nothing gonna be perfect. If I don't ship the product, if I don't launch the MVP, if I don't get to the market, if I don't have any feedback from the customer, I would never to refine my product to be better one. So I think by having that mindset, just do it and just get the product out, get the product shipped, and to get the market feedback, and then to improve, that really helped my journey.
Yeah, well said, well said. Yeah, that's actually really helpful. Very insightful advice. We'll dive more into that later as we cover your journey in the startups. So curious how you mentioned about your work in Google, and also I saw you Uber. Work at Uber and different companies, and then you navigate and finally become an entrepreneur yourself. Curious how you become an entrepreneur. Tell us your story.
So I'm the second time founder. My first time I become entrepreneur or founder is back to 2018. That was after my Uber experience, and then I later joined Tencent, which is a big tech company. I get bored, and 2018 was there are a lot of companies. TikTok was expanding in Western market, and I identified there is an opportunity that I can do marketing, like viral marketing for TikTok. So that was an opportunity, and the timing was right. They are investing a lot in the Western market. I grabbed that opportunity, and that's how I did my first company.
That's cool. Tell us more about your first company. What business it was?
Happy to. It's an in-depth growth marketing agency. We help mostly TikTok and a few gaming companies to do the viral marketing, to help them do the user acquisition.
That's actually also very important. And many startup founders actually always figure out about growth and viral marketing as well. I'm curious that, and how did you make those few hundred, had such a great start of a startup in first year?
So I would attribute to my first enterprise client, TikTok. So really it's about the timing. We probably heard of this a lot. People always say the timing. That's 100% correct. So back in 2018, that was the time TikTok, quite a lot of the social networking, live streaming, short form video company are expanding aggressively in Western market. Because of my my professional experience both in the US and China, that really helped me or my company set apart and to get our first clients on TikTok.
Tell us a little bit about what you learned from this experience. What is the best and the worst moment in this first startup journey you had?
That's that question. The best journey was, the beginning was very easy. I guess I was lucky because TikTok was investing a lot back in 2018. And as an agency, as long as you can deliver with a good presentation, with a good pitch, you will be able to help the brands and win their agreement. So I would consider myself really just to be lucky to get a TikTok as a client, and that really helps set the foundation for me in the later to get more clients like in the gaming industry. That was I would say the success, the lucky. The second part, the step back, is later when I was working with my gaming clients with a celebrity news.
Thanks for sharing that. Well, also I'm curious that in the first startup journey, have you had a failure? What was the biggest failure for the first journey, and what is the main takeaway from it?
Yes, I definitely had a failure. Beginning was a very easy process for us to take the business off the ground. Like I said, we were just very lucky to have TikTok as a client. The biggest setback is when we pivot to work with the gaming clients, their ask is to work with Hollywood industry. They aim with the celebrity. There are a few lessons I've learned from that. Number one is I invested most of my efforts to work through that agreement, that deal. And the second, the lack of diversification of the generating the pipeline. We focus too much efforts on that one big client. And the third part is really it's about the timing. And sometimes we negotiate with those Hollywood celebrity. It's not a typical process as you would work with a lawyer or the professional service. So it really helped me to rethink about the business we are in.
I'm curious that because you mentioned that you had a very easy start with first startup, you landed with TikTok clients, and then you went to the gaming client. Turns out it was much harder than you thought. And now if you think back that, do you feel like the first experience, the TikTok experience, has some influence about how you do for the second client? And if you do it again, how would you approach that?
Fantastic question. Yes, it did have a significant impact because it was so easy for the first one, and we really had a great traction ARR, and I underestimated the efforts and the difficulty we're gonna invest in to get gaming clients. So that part I think is under preparation. The second part is the timing. Because different industry, social networking company, TikTok has different needs versus the gaming company. The gaming company didn't want us to do what we did for TikTok. So which we did something we are not very experienced at as a startup.
Yeah. I'm curious, how long did it take for you that you figure out that you wouldn't make for the second time? Or it's very hard, like second time it doesn't work yeah.
It took me over 6 months to relentlessly to work on the second gaming client. We had tons of back communication, a lot of late nights with Asia, with Singapore, with Los Angeles.
Yeah. So 6 months. Do you feel like the 6 months is like too long, or just about the time, or is in terms of time wise, what would you do to help you to make the decision faster than figure this out faster than 6 months?
Yeah. If I were to do it again now, I will figure it out very fast in my second month. That I needed to diversify my needs gen, my prospects, my enterprise, my clients diversification. I won't be investing a lot of the efforts just for one big client. I think that was the lesson I've learned.
Yeah, exactly. And actually that's the problem many founders have facing, because especially when you're starting with big clients, you will be very happy, and big clients come with big check. And you will naturally lean to work like big clients or enterprise sales, and always this question of, is your ideal customer the big enterprises with like the check of $1 million, or like even like then you have one deal, great, you can rest for a couple of years. But or you do the SMB, which is like it's also a whole different games, and a lot of the founders actually are figuring out like where they are they middle market, are they SMB, are they enterprise. Do you have any advice for them about how to figure out the ideal customer size?
Yeah, I would say just share my experience. Is because we started with a big enterprise TikTok. Then my bet back then was, we're gonna crack the gaming industry. If we win this big enterprise gaming clients, we will be able to win so many more gaming clients. So if I were doing it again, I would diversify, spend 70% of my efforts on the big enterprise with multiple needs. And the second is to invest 30% of the time into the SMBs. Those were going to be the backbone of the revenue generator, the business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Cool. How many years did you work on the first startup, and what happened later for the?
Yeah, I started in 2018, and then as COVID hits, I stopped my startup. I paused my startup and went back to business school. Part of the reason was I lost this one gaming enterprise client, and that really had some setback on me. And I wanted to take some time to reflect and to go back to business school.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, what prompted you to do the business school back then?
Yeah, the first reason is obviously my startup, right? Because we lost this one of the most significant enterprise clients, and the COVID hit, and looks like there won't be any promising prospects and needs come in. And the second part is TikTok in 2020. They were not spending that much on their marketing. Instead, they pivoted to monetization, which means they didn't want to spend that much on marketing budget on the agency. That's the second reason. The third part is I always wanted to learn more about the networking, the communication, the soft skills. So at that point, I feel it was the timing that this is a good time for me to learn more. Yeah.
So you went to Columbia Business School, right?
Yeah.
So how do you view this MBA? Like a lot of the startup founders also wonder, do I need an MBA degree to do startup? What is your thought?
Yeah, the honest answer would be no, you don't need a startup. You don't need an MBA to do startup.
Yeah. What would be the main takeaway from your MBA experience at Columbia?
I would attribute to the people I've met and the network I'm able to have in the school and out of school. For example, there are a lot of alumni events going on in the Bay Area and in New York. So now if I went back to New York City, I still have those connections. And the second part is, as a startup, to have the access to resources, to know the people, that really helped me to open many doors. And I think those people, those connections are super valuable for me, instead of probably on the academics, the classes I've taken in the school.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, a lot of times I think MBA education is like provide like a network that you can access to, and like whether you access or not, it actually depends on what are your motivation from that. And like you mentioned, that it's very good to have, but it's not like you have to have. There's many other ways to network. We also over time I learned like community FounderCoHo.
Yeah.
It's also a way to connect, to find more fellow founders. Yeah, I'm curious that as you're going through MBA journey, you mentioned about you want to do a startup. How is your startup doing? Yeah.
So after I went back to MBA,
Yeah.
I was with a big company, LinkedIn, and I don't get me wrong, I love working at a LinkedIn, but I just realized something was missing. I was definitely more passionate when I was working on my first startup, my first company. I feel like internally, I don't feel the desire. I don't feel the passion. And that was the timing I realized I wanted to do startup again.
Yeah, so you graduate and then join the LinkedIn and work there for a while, and then realize that you really the fire inside you about being a founder hasn't died yet. So you decided to do it again. So tell us a little bit more about how you reboot your startup career.
So one thing is that I didn't LinkedIn like before I graduated.
Oh,
So I was like doing school and working both. Like I was
same
very
time.
same time. I was very demanding, and then later I quit LinkedIn to just focus on the school. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now back to your question, right?
Yeah.
How did I wanted to join startup again?
Yeah. How did you get back to the startup journey? Yeah.
After Columbia, I first joined a Series D company, B2B SaaS. I was working in the revenue team, and I made a very intentional decision. I wanted to join a fast-growing SaaS company, and to work in the partnerships, to work closely with the large enterprise clients. That was a very intentional decision. Because I think that will set a foundation for me to later on working on my startup if I were to do it again. Gotcha.
Yeah, how long did you stay in that Series D company?
Yeah, over a year. Yeah.
Over a year, yeah. So do you feel like joining a company like Series D company would be helpful for you? Would you, because a lot of our members also, my friends as well, sometimes it's figuring out, should I just go and do a startup, or should I join some startup? Do we join Series A or Series D? What is the thought, since you have been in a similar experience? Yeah, I really love the experience, the Series D start, because I was working in the revenue partnerships team. All we do every day is to communicate and talk with the partners. That really helped me a lot in later to how to sell myself, how to pitch myself to my own startup clients and to the business partner. I think that core skill is what I've learned from that startup. Pretty cool. Yeah. Also, you mentioned about a very great point. It's about how to pitch yourself, how to be as good at selling the ideas. And a lot of startup founders, they're more like from technical background. I totally agree. And they just build the things, but not necessarily good at selling. So what is your thoughts about like how a person who is not very good at selling or pitching themselves can be good at that? What would be your advice? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I totally agree with you because I was at a few startup events. A lot of YC founder, they would believe as long as they have the best product, the product can sell for themselves. I would say number one is to really know your product inside and out. That probably most of the technical founder already have that. The product is really their baby. They're working hard on that. The second is really to understand who are your customer. I would position selling. I would position this is not selling. This is what our product to help them to solve their pain points. If our products can do the magic, help them solve their pain points, they will be more likely to refer to other friends and their circle. That's exactly. So what I hear you say is that it's really it's not about selling, it's actually about revealing the magic of the product and communicate it very concisely and easy to understand way to your customers so they can figure that out. I'm also very curious because you mentioned about like how to pitch your product. and also there's a how to pitch yourself. Because as a founder, you have to pitch yourself all the time to your co-founders, to your VCs, to your early employees. What is the thought here?
Yeah, my company, I'm pretty lucky. We're not actively raising for any capital. Both of my first company and my second company. The second part, how do I pitch my co-founder? So I met my co-founder at my previous last company. The company that she was working for was our client. Then we met at a dinner and then we become friends. Because of the friendship evolves, and then I identified there is a business opportunity, and we both are passionate about education and helping people.
So that's the co-founder that you're working together for the Silicon Valley Circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do I pitch the client?
So you basically like you and your co-founder and Silicon Valley Circle, you know each other for a long time before you started doing it.
We've known each other for a while since my last job. The company that she worked for was our client. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So like for the Silicon Valley Circle, did you start at a similar time or like how the project get started?
Yeah, no, good question. I started Silicon Valley Circle as a side hustle initially. The reason is I didn't know if this would take off, and I was still working on a full-time job. I want to help people. I want to help people get into big tech and finance industry. Because the reason is one of the challenge I've identified is that most of the international students, Chinese students, they have fantastic academic background. They went to top university. They have a strong internship, technical skills on the resume. The only skill that they lack of is tell the story and sell themselves to the interviewer, to the company. And that's I feel I can help them. So I initially started by doing the coaching with the candidates to help them getting job offer, salary negotiation. And then very quickly, more people come to me. I post them on my social media. I just want to give a quick plug, the 小红书. Go down to Alice, yeah.
Please subscribe.
Yeah, and then, very quickly, I was able to get more candidate students. And then at one point, I realized I really want to do this full time. And also we are helping high school students get into top universities. Yeah, that was the moment I decided I need to do this full time. I need to help more students and their families.
That's cool. Yeah, I think it's a magic to turn your hobby and passions into startup you work on. And how long was the side project time you do it for? When did you get started as a side project for?
Yeah, I started as a side project 2 years ago.
2 years ago, and then you started doing it full time after a year or so.
Yeah, then I started to work on this full time after 1 year. After I had the proof of what was that word? The proof of concept.
Proof of concept.
Proof of concept. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this question will be interesting for a lot of our audiences as well, because a lot of us we all have that side project, side hustle, and keep doing it. But there's always a time when you need to figure out, do you actually want to devote yourself to working on it or not? Yeah. I'm curious that what are the moments that you realize that I'm gonna do this full time? Did you rely on any framework, any triggers? Is there any defining moment that made you make the decision?
No metrics. I've been thinking about quitting my last job for over 7 months. And then I talked to a lot of my friends and a lot of startup founder. I would say like majority of them give me that advice, like Alice, you should quit your full-time job. If you don't do this full-time, it's a waste. What I'm doing in the corporate is I was generating the revenue for my company and I was doing very well. But it was not my own product, it was not my own baby.
Yeah.
And also the time commitment, because I was traveling a lot, like go to different conference and a lot of meetings, so I won't be able to have the full capacity.
Yeah, that makes sense. Over time, you realize it makes more sense for you to spend all of your time in your passion.
Yeah,
that totally makes sense. I'm curious, at which point your co-founder joined you?
I'm happy to share that initially my co-founder joined me not as a co-founder capacity. Initially is we were just like test on the drive. I didn't know if this would work out. It's a huge commitment. I wanted to start from something easy, something we can execute. Until was at a moment I realized, and also she realized that we can work full-time on this as co-founders. So there was a few months we tried, she just coming as an advisor, like helping out.
Oh yeah, that's actually a very great strategy because I also have a lot of friends who are in the process of finding co-founders. And it's incredibly hard to find a good co-founder which you trust. So your approach is very interesting. Bring a person you trust as an advisor and see how it works and then turn into a co-founder.
Yeah.
Do you have any other advices about finding co-founder?
Okay, last year when I started, I initially brought on a co-founder, and then that didn't work out because one, I realized we have a different ambition and goal about the business, and the second, we are very different about the direction we were going, and third, it's just the personality-wise, the scale-wise, we are very much alike. We're not complementing to each other, so that co-founder experience was horrible, I would say, was bad. Then later I've learned that I cannot bring a co-founder very easily. I needed to see if we were be able to work together, if there is gonna be chemistry, if there's gonna be trust, and if our skills are more complementing, not exactly the same.
Exactly, yeah. That's actually a very, very common thing for startup founders here because a lot of us will start with a person we like or could be best friend, with like doing the startup together. But over time, we realize that it actually takes much more to be a good co-founder. So it's pretty hard. I'm very curious about how you navigate. I'm pretty sure there will be very tricky and dedicated conversation happening. How you navigate with your previous co-founder about figuring out the future for both of you?
My previous co-founder or my current?
The previous one, yeah.
Oh, it didn't work out. The previous one. Because fundamentally, we have different direction and expectation about the company.
So you have a conversation to discuss about the future of the company, and you realize that you are not in the same direction from them.
Yeah, that's part of the reason. And we try the conversations, and it's like any marriage, right? People say when you have a co-founder, it's like you're marrying like someone. So we did try like co-founder as therapist, and it just doesn't work out. The second part is the commitment. I'm fully committed, and that's my ambition, that's my determination, that's where I want to take the business to. But she has a different ambition, she has different commitment. So that part, I don't think it's negotiable, or I don't think it's workable to find a solution.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's good that you mentioned about also finding a foundation like a marriage. It does feel a lot like that. And also the therapy sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. It really depends. I think it depends on the particular situation on that. But what I can say is that in order to figure out, it's actually first thing that you be very clear about those you want. And that's also aligned with the experience I had and also a lot of friends had, is time is very important. If you figure out that you're not actually in the same direction, just keep bonding together. It doesn't help for either of you. So having that conversation, even if it's tricky, it's hard, it feels emotional, but over time you will feel better.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think for every founder in Coho community, probably would agree is to set the expectation up front. And because their life is busy, they probably have different priority at different stage of their life. So is this company really the priority for you? I think that's a question we need to ask of ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So another question about the co-founder relationship, which a lot of our community members care about, is that what are the key things that you are currently doing to foster the co-founder relationship with the current co-founders?
I have a great relationship with my current co-founder, Winter. I just want to give a plug.
Yes, that's all.
Yeah, so it was not an easy journey. Like I said, beginning because of the experience I had with the previous co-founder. So very intentionally, when I brought her on, I set the expectation about this is the direction, this is the time commitment. Is this something you would be interested? If so, maybe we can start as like a part-time or less committed role, and then to see if you like it or not. If you like it, then we're gonna have that conversation later. And the second is I think every co-founder relationship, there are gonna be a lot of disagreement. So fundamentally, I think by having the trust at each other and to have the transparent communications, and second, trust is not easy to build. It took time, and really, I think over the time, once you've been through those ups and downs, the setbacks and the wins, both of you can foster a stronger co-founder relationship. And the third part is when there is a disagreement, it's inevitable. There's gonna be disagreement. What I now practice doing is to go back to the fundamental, go back to the first principle. What was the goal we're trying to achieve? And is this the best solution or not? So we only focus on the question, the problem itself. We don't focus on the person.
Yeah, I think what you mentioned is very resonating. Like, what I have to say is actually having the first principle and to really always go back to see why we get this company started. What is our vision? What is our mission? And then a lot of times the disagreement is more like execution level. Or doing this or doing that. But if all the co-founders are aligned on the vision, often it's much easier to figure out a solution. Actually, that's like switching gear a little bit about the vision and mission part. I know you took a while for you to find a good co-founders, to get a Silicon Valley circle study. And I'm curious that like you mentioned about like Silicon Valley circles want to help students define their careers, and what are the learning process you have in the past several years?
In terms of the vision, or
in terms of how you refine the product of the company to make it to fit your vision better, or also about the vision. Did the vision ever change in the process, or it's always been the same?
The vision is always the same. Is we want to empower more people through education, regardless if it's helping them get into top universities or helping them land the first job offer in the US. Are there any changes about the product direction?
Yeah, the product direction. How you are helping people like achieve those.
Okay. So initially we started with, like I said, with career coaching, is to help people do better in the interview for the offer negotiation, salary negotiation. And later we realized a lot of the students, even though they went to the top university, say for Columbia, NYU, UCLA, Boston University, a lot of them were struggle to I guess it's the difference between how to get a job interview in Asia or in China versus in the US. That's a very different process. Because in China, where I grew up, I was taught or educated as we needed to stay humble. And that formula won't work well in the corporate America, I just have to say it. Yeah, so once I realized, because there is a gap between what the school taught us and then what the corporate America wants, then we work backwards to help high schooler to be better to understand what they want to do in terms of their post-college life. So that's where the idea came in, as we want to help more high school students be very intentionally to apply to a school that's gonna help them with their career development.
Cool. So I'm curious that how many students have you helped?
We helped over hundreds, a lot.
That's cool. Yeah, and what is your thinking about ahead? What is like your plan for the business?
We definitely want to help more high school students and young professional college students for the first two parts I share. And I think there is a gap, even though for those young professionals into the professional world, they still would need consistent coaching and mentorship. I've seen that a lot in either from the business school or from the different industry. I think there is a gap for continue to learn on the job success, how to strategize in the professional setting, and how do they stand out, how do they earn their visibility, how do they get promotion, that kind of topic. So I do want to build a SaaS platform like subscription to support people for the ongoing success.
Yeah, cool. And also curious, you all because you are helping a lot of like students or young professionals, helping them to find. What would be the things that if you go back and tell some advice to younger version of yourself, like, what would be the advice you gave?
Yes, just believe in yourself and be confident. I was not this confident before I came to the US. And in my college, I quickly realized, even though a lot of my classmates, they didn't know the concept, but they did the presentation very well. So that was one of the awakening moments for me to know their presentation skills, to know how they socialize, how they step out of their comfort zone, how they can make friends, have a conversation with the employer at any setting.
Yeah, exactly. Like having your inner confidence is very important. And I also want to dive back to one point you mentioned earlier about like the education for many immigrants. Also, it's for both immigrant and also for young professionals. They often will be told that stay humble, don't brag. However, like you mentioned, it doesn't work that way in corporate America.
No.
From that. So what would be the advice for people to gain confidence and be able to put their voice out?
Okay, so number one is, imagine if you don't believe in yourself, no one probably can believe in you, right? So that's number one. The number two is, we've come this far to study in a different country, like speaking a different language. We already proved ourselves. And there was only very few percentage, like selective students can do that. The third is, if you are going for an interview, you already got the interview invite, which means the company likes you. And what you needed to do is, at this point, to pitch yourself, sell yourself to the company.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's basically thinking, because a lot of times we have imposter syndrome. We think that we're not qualified. But if you are here, you are qualified. You don't worry about that. So that's very important. And not just for college and the young professionals, for startup it's the same. Like imposter syndrome is a very big problem for many of the founders I see. They feel they are not deserving what they're having. There's so many problems they have. They feel like they are just fakers. But it's not. If you are well, like you totally deserve who you are, and just keep your confidence and just keep pushing forward. I'm also curious that your startup journey, like you had a wonderful start, have a TikTok, secure the first client. Do you have any difficult time?
Yeah, absolutely. Because of it was a very easy start, and I totally underestimated the efforts we're gonna put to win our second clients. Apart from TikTok, as a first-time founder, I thought, oh, every client was gonna be very easy to win, just like TikTok, and it didn't happen that way. Because TikTok was, I would say, it's more like an outlier, the timing. They're just looking for a marketing agency at the time to help them expand into Western market. That's where we come in. Later, when we were trying to expand to the gaming vertical, and it's a new vertical, the product we offer to TikTok didn't fit into the requirements for the gaming clients. They want something different, and that was something we've never done before. And that journey really took us over 6 months to try to pull off that deal, and unfortunately it didn't happen. So myself, my team, the lawyer, we worked over 6 months and zero revenue. So from a few $1 million revenue at beginning in a few months to zero revenue in the next few months. So that was a huge setback.
Yeah, exactly. I heard many founders talking about startup journey is a roller coaster. High is very high, low is very low. I think Alex just showed examples of a roller coaster journey. But it's great to say that you actually become more resilient to the process, and you also start to try a lot of different classes. The first business you did is the B2B, so it's like enterprise clients. And the later part, you also figure out that more to the consumer side of the business. And it obviously feels like you went through a whole journey and searched for the right path for a startup. I'm curious to hear your story.
Yeah, that's a fantastic point. Because I've done B2B and I knew the sales cycle for B2B is very long. And for startup, for me to survive, I needed to have a repetitive, stable revenue. So to consumer would satisfy that requirements. Once I had the recurring, stable revenue stream from the B2C side, I then can expand it to B2B, because that's gonna take some B2B client probably takes over 6 months, 1 year. Really depends on the sales cycle. And let me redo that. Yeah, just one sentence. Yeah. So typically B2B sales cycle would be 10x than consumer. So for a startup, for founder to survive, I need to diversify as a second-time founder because I'm never from B2B. Even though I've invested a few months, it could be just zero revenue, and it's really a lot of pressure as a founder. So in order for a company to survive, I needed to have that recurring stable revenue from the consumer side, and then I can in parallel work on the enterprise side, B2B.
Yeah, that's actually a very interesting perspective because people often see as a B2B company and a B2C company as if they never coexist. But in the real world, startup is a startup. It needs to be survive as a profitable business. So a lot of times things are more nuanced. Would you mind sharing a little bit more detail? You mentioned about this is the second time you do startup, you get more experiences to balance more. Like how the B2B side and B2C side, more details about the product line and how they are working together.
Yeah, so there are a lot of overlaps between B2B and B2C from my perspective. Say our end product is to help individual students help their family to achieve their education and career dream. By reaching out to those target students, there are multiple channels. I can reach out directly through social media, through ads, through friends referral. I can also reach out to them through partnerships, through school, through enterprise. So that's how I really think there is a lot of overlap and intertwine about B2B and B2C. There is no defined line about, oh, I'm only doing like B2C. I'm not gonna partner with any enterprise partner.
Yeah, exactly, Yeah, let's switch gear to another topic. Startup is a pretty hard thing to do because you cannot do it yourself. You have to do it together with your colleagues, with a team, and managing a team is hard, especially in a very dynamic environment like a startup, where you're also at the same time searching for market fit. Anything you would like to share about your management philosophy as a startup CEO?
So the first one is do not be a control freak. I hate to say that, but I used to be a control freak, which means I want everything to be perfect and I want to do it by myself. And that was a huge learning and a mistake for me is as a founder, I only have 24 hours a day. And I really needed to empower my team to do the best at their job so I can trust them, I can empower them. And as a founder, so I can spend more time and focus to really think about what will be the next product for the company and what are the strategic direction we're going.
Yeah, that's very interesting. What I have to say is that the founders oftentimes work very hard because they're deeply invested and believe in the vision. However, putting your too much control of your own baby might kill the baby. So you have to let other people to co-raise and have the freedom to do things. I'm also curious, your thoughts. Recently in the Silicon Valley, very popular concept popularized by Airbnb founders mode, which is a concept that the brand checks is that founders need to be in the loop. You cannot have a person and completely let go and then person do it. Curious your thoughts about founder mode.
I believe in the management mode. The reason is in order to take the company to the next level, I always talk about growth. We need a 10x growth. In order to get there, I really needed to empower the team to own it, to have the full ownership. If I don't trust them, if they don't own the responsibility, own the results, I won't be able to have the time to think about the strategic products.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's actually a very interesting perspective. I asked this question to many founders, and they all have different answers. And what I would say is that actually there's no right or wrong answer. And startup inherently is a hard thing. And having the management, like what I have to say is that actually give the people the ownership, which is very important. When you step in too much, you actually take the ownership away, which you will limit the growth of the startup. I think everything here comes with the context, and we will keep asking questions. So please subscribe to us if you want to know more answers for these questions. Yeah, let's switch gears to another topic. The startup, earlier you also mentioned about the magic of selling the startup is revealing the magic of product. And a very big part of the startup life is to build a product that has magic. Do you have anything to share on that side?
Yeah, really to help your customer solve their problem.
Yeah.
If we can help them solve their problem efficiently, they will come back to us. They would appreciate and they would refer more customer to us. So fundamentally, I always believe the MVP do the testing. Probably a lot of you heard of the Lean Startup and also been to startup events. I always want to launch the MVP to test the market, to get the feedback, instead of developing the perfect product to the market. The speed to market is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, that's actually a perfect point, because a lot of our founders are professionalism. Like, we would like to make this is our baby. Like, we think we want to make it super beautiful, impress other people. But oftentimes, startup needs to be an ugly baby, and you have to put your ugly baby in front to be judged by the market. That's how you get a signal and feedback. You mentioned about Lean Startup. That's a very interesting topic. I'm very curious because for many startup founders, they had the same problem, especially in the early stages. All the signal you get is so fragmented. You release this, you send it out, either nobody cares, so no one come back, or someone randomly give you some comments. Do you have any framework or system that allows you to do the decision making? Like, how do you tease out which feature is good, which feature needs to be?
Yeah, I can share a story with you. I sell my product without having a website. And I only have a very scrappy Canva, like a flyer. But then, because our product can really solve people's problem, and I don't even have a website, and that's how I was able to close a few. That's how I was able to close the first few customers. So what I'm trying to say is, I've seen a lot of founders trying to get the website very polished. A lot of them even come to me like say, I need to polish my website and those, because our time is so limited. I just want to focus on what matters the most is the speed to the market. Once I have the MVP, if I want to launch this new product, I'm going to quickly launch within 2 weeks and to say the market comes back. Once I saw the signal, I'm going to double down, invest more efforts, more resources into it. Sometimes I will use the pen the door solution without even have the product ready. But by just pen the door, I can get how many customers signed up, the early signals. So once I have that signal, I then would work backwards to develop the product.
Yeah, that's actually a very great advice. So a lot of times people will think, oh, build a startup is about building, about writing code, about writing website. And oftentimes it's not the case. You need to work backward, like while the market needs. Like in your case, it's wonderful to hear that you can do the test even without a website, which allows you to do it very fast and work backward and figure out a solution. Fantastic advice. Thank you. So another part, so thanks for the advice for that. And for a lot of founders, they need to be careful, really like the things keep that online, and everybody asks the question, what is the most? There's a solution about that and how to solve it. And you mentioned a great thing that to release the MVP out, to get the signal as fast as possible, a lot of times that people will ask these things. They will figure a problem that has value propositions to the customer. They struggle at how to differentiate themselves. How do you make sure that your customer will choose your product?
Yeah, that would go back to the first principle is really know your customer and identify what's in their top of mind. What's their top 3 pain points to achieve their goal? Like for example, for education, for a lot of international students, what we find out is from our webinar at Duke University is they cannot get an interview. They don't know the industry people, and they lack of practice to pass the interview. So once we collect those big 3 pain points, then in my conversation, in my webinar to the students, I specifically give them the tactics, how to resolve, how to prepare, how we can help you. So the whole positioning is not about, I want to sell you this. That's not my point. That's not what I want to do. What I want to do is really to help them achieve their success. I think fundamentally by having that in mind, as a founder, you will have more confidence in your product and you will also feel more fulfilled by solving your customers' pain points, their problem.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's fantastic advice. So what I hear you say is that the MVP is one stage is where you quickly get ideas whether there's opportunity here, but at the end of the day, you need to build a product that customer really loves, and you can only do this by truly listening to them, to iterate and talk to each of them, so that your product can solve this problem uniquely well and much better than everyone else in the market.
Yeah, I want to add on is in the education, a lot of competitors spend over tens of millions every year to do the marketing. I'm very proud to say we don't do any marketing. We don't spend money on marketing. Because fundamentally what I believe is as long as our product can help our students to achieve their goal, very organically, they do like to refer their friends, their family friends, their classmates. Yeah, by word of mouth, that's how we will be able to generate the traction.
Gotcha. Oh, that's fantastic. So what I hear you say is the product is the best marketing. And I'm also very curious because your background is more from the marketing side, and as you are starting doing startup, and what will be the learning about the startup marketing? Like you dealt that a little bit, but curious, do you have any stories or more insights to share?
Let me went back to B2B. If you are a B2B startup founder, from my experience is to identify who your product is selling to. Who is the decision maker? Because a lot of the time, company has to go through the internal process. The person who pays your product might not be the decision maker. As long as you identify the decision maker, and then to work backwards to think about what are the value, what are the events they would be. Would it be at a conference? Would it be a LinkedIn? Would it be through referral? Would it be through industry white paper? The number one thing is to identify who are you selling to. That's for B2B.
B2B, yeah.
For B2C, it's different.
Yeah. B2B, I think what you mentioned is very resonating. It's all about stakeholder management.
Yeah.
Figure out who is the decision maker, who is the blocker, and figure out a play to make it happen. Also curious because you do both B2B and B2C. What is your thoughts on the B2C marketing?
Yeah, B2C, again, like we really don't spend the money on the marketing. It's about, I try to think from the customer perspective, like what's their top of mind, what help do they need, and how does our service, how does our product can solve their problem. So with that mindset, I was able to more empathetic to understand their needs, and that's how we will be able to develop customized solution for each individual.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then you will, if you have a great product that solves the customer problem, come more for referral.
Yes. Yes. Previously, I mentioned like my current company education, we are not actively looking for VC money, but what I'm trying to build for my next phase is the SaaS subscription product I shared about. That one I will need to raise VC money because fundamentally it's two different products. One is the service, professional service. Another one is the product platform marketplace, so you can scale.
Yeah, exactly. And you actually do a very good approach, which is that you use this more like a professional services to identify the pain points. And then so there's a concrete need, and then you can build a SaaS solution on top of it.
Yeah.
And by the time you get that point, there's already a lot of traction and market validation.
Yeah. And I can get a customer feedback very quickly as well. Why didn't I do the SaaS product first is one, as a startup founder, we needed to survive, right?
Yeah.
Given today's economy, it's not easy to raise money. Probably that would take over a year. And the second is you needed to have a massive user if you are doing the B2C. And the marketing gonna be very expensive. So by having the organic customer going through our program, going through our coaching education program, then later can become the first batch of customer for the SaaS product.
Exactly. And I see that this is also the way that many successful startups build. It's also YC mantra is that build things that don't scale first. I think what you see here is, PG mentioned about this. Do the thing without need to automate it. Don't worry about that. Putting a human behind it, just do it. And then when the demand is so strong, then you really cannot scale yourself at this point, then figure out a solution that automates it. And then you get the scaling business from that. So what I have mentioned in these cases, you are very intentionally putting two stages, which is awesome. I think it will be very useful for many of the founders in the community. And I think we are close to the end of the chat. I would love to see if you have any recommended resources for the community members, like any podcasts you recently watched, books you recently read.
Yeah, the first part is join cohort founders events, and I've met great founders. I've met a lot of connections, and it's really a fabulous community for people to connect. And I just want to really appreciate you for doing this for the community, giving back. The second is try to go to more networking events and to know different founders. Like I said, pitch yourself. Initially, probably gonna be intimidating, but once you've done a few times, you will get better. And just keep practicing and keep observing what other people do. Yeah, and third part of the podcast, I really like Bloomberg Technology. It's only like 45 quick daily from Monday to Friday, and that gives me a holistic view about what's going on in the world. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. And I will add one more, which is your account actually has a lot of resources over there. How people can find you?
Yeah, so please go to 小红书, RED, the Red app, and the download, and you can find me by searching 葛大学姐 Alex. Yeah.
Awesome.
Or if you go to the website svcircle.com, you will be able to find us. Yeah, so happy to help.
That's awesome. We will put the link below here. Please check it out. Also, please subscribe to our channels for future contents, and we have more amazing founders like Alice to share with us. And thank you very much, Alice, for sharing your experience and all the learnings. And yeah, awesome.
Thank you, Jane.
Hope to see you more in the more events in community.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.